Hello folks, welcome back to the Casting Conflicts playoffs here, as we're jumping into another matchup as we're coming off of the Banana v Vesa match, and what was quite a good back and forth between the players. I mean, quite enjoyable here, and it certainly set the tone for the rest of this bracket here, hopefully seeing some action similar or better quality than what we saw in that first round matchup here. But today we've got Jay versus Allen, the last of the round one matchups before semifinals, and joining me today on commentary, we've got Jump here subbing in for Tweak. And Jump, how are you today, and are you excited for today's matchup?
I am both great and excited for today's matchups. I think we're going to see some good play. Both decks and both players are top level. In fact, all the players left in the playoff season are showing some of the best that Cards and Castles has to offer.
Right, and speaking of the best they have to offer, Jay v. Allen, of course, two players who have been on pretty different paths, I have to say, throughout the season here. Allen had a strong opening to his season, Jay not so much, and that kind of flip-flopped as we got to the later months here, with Jay climbing back up the ladder of success, and Allen kind of slipping a little bit here with the deck change that he made, switching from his Mystic Rat build to his Crusader Druid build. And I mean, looking at the matchup on paper here, what are your predictions going into this? I mean, we've got Jay's deck, which is certainly quite the amalgamation of cards here, with things like Reclaim, Monk, things that you don't really see too often, going up against what looks to be a pretty straightforward Druid Crusader global spam list.
Now, I'm going to answer your question in just a moment, but I want to first preface it by saying that Allen's deck was actually made by Tweakin, fun fact. And Tweakin is someone I consider to be a very good deck builder. So the downside is that since Allen didn't build this deck, he doesn't have as much practice on it. He's maybe got a few situations that he might not know how to handle perfectly every matchup. Being said, it is a pretty straightforward deck. Lots of global buffs, some companions, some healing, card draw from the Craxus. It's not too hard to pilot, very strong. It can pop off really well, some great combos. I don't expect to see any sideboards, and it's for those few reasons why I give the matchup advantage a slight edge to Jay. He's kind of mastered that deck. He's optimized it to its fullest, and he's played a ton of games on it.
Yeah, not to mention the Raka Rumble coming in before. Sorry to cut you off there. Making his way through Raka Rumble here, getting himself, again, further experience with the deck, which I think might actually give him, again, a further edge. Just having the playoffs and the postseason spotlight already on him before, I think he can perform a little bit better than Allen, who this is his first time showing up under the postseason spotlight, as I'm trying to say there. So I think that might give him a bit more of an edge, like you were mentioning.
Yeah, and the sideboard knowledge of, oh, I'm going against this matchup, I need to tech in a little bit more of this. I think we can see some creative sideboarding here. I hope to, at least. And I think best of luck to both players. It'll be a close one.
Right, and with that being said, folks, match number one between these two gamers coming at you right now. Alright folks, match number one underway as Jay's opening up with an interesting hand here. Going to swap away the Yenaroth. Makes sense here for Paladin Books Pillar. Not a bad start going up against Allen's yellow-white. And Jump, I mean, I think we talked a little bit about the matchup before, but I mean, how are we looking here? What are we feeling as we're starting off the Lumberjack here? It should be an unpredictable game.
Yeah, so we're seeing no turn two plays even for Jay. Allen's gonna try his best to take advantage of that by pointing out a cleric, and it's up to Jay to fend off, and as we've seen with this deck before, if he can get to that late game state, then it's very easy for him to turn the board around with these colors.
Exactly.
Lots of healing, lots of freezing.
Things like the Yenaroth, the Pillar, which are already in hand. Things like Arbiter. Dwarven Paladin, to an extent, is a bit of heal as well. That's going to get quickly taken off the board, though. The Cleric coming in and delivering the swift kill with the Armory Blacksmith assistance. Might force Jay to either Lich or Pillar here, I imagine, just to kind of stall for time. Has no real way of dealing with the Cleric now. Unless, oh, never mind. He's going to go for the... Okay.
He's
All right.
he's got the sneaky reclaim. I believe that's a one of in his deck, unless he's running some extra copies on the sideboard.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is he didn't position his books right next, or two in front of his castle. I suppose it doesn't matter since it's going to die anyway.
I think that's what he expected. Usually,
Yeah.
Armory on the other side is not going to be surviving for long here. It's funny though. Reclaim.
But you might as well take the small little bits you can.
Of course, and it's weird how this reclaim has put in so much work for Jay over the course of this entire postseason, used it to quite the effective nature in I think most of his games. It's proving to be a sneaky card that people aren't prepared for in this playoffs bracket. It's wild.
It's always great when you've got a board full of units. But right now, let's get back to the match because big things have happened. One of the deadliest combos in the game, especially this early on in the game. This is a rampaging wizard with lots of power.
Not only just a lot of power, but supported by the Mana Core Spirit Link as well. We're going to have to drop a Freezing Pillar here in response. Now, we do have a nice position if we are Jay, because of course we've got dual pillars. It's not like this is the only pillar we have and hope that Allen can't kill it. But yeah, certainly not the position we want to be in, as Cleric is the response to the pillar here. If that trades with Pillar, I mean, I think Jay can just set another one up, right, to create some more value for him.
Right, unless Allen sneaks a second unit in behind where the pillar currently is.
Right.
But he chooses not to do that. He's going for maximum healing. So this pillar is going to solidify the entire board unkillable. Not even companions can deal with this.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, absolutely scary. And not to mention the Lightning Blade we picked up here for turn. Very, very scary potential here does Jay have going into the later stages of this matchup. Can Allen really work around this? I'm trying to figure out a way in these colors without, you know, some type of weird dual companion, you know, bot book, bot pillar, but setting himself up for more chain in the process. It seems like a very, very terrible situation here for Allen.
It sure is. Now, in this situation, a lot of players make the mistake of jumping the gun, trying to kill off the frozen units because, hey, it's a free trade. But you're not really under any threat right now. You're just kind of waiting it out, letting the chain pile up, and then you can deal with all of these things after. So the move we went for here ended up being okay. I'll let you talk about what just happened, and I'll say what I would have done instead.
Well, I mean, we saw the Lightning Blade connect on the Cleric here, taking out the Craxus book, eliminating the Mana Core by hitting the castle here, breaking up the chain just a little bit here. Kind of interesting that we didn't commit to the L-Blade on Castle to create this big amount of chain here, but I guess the Craxus was the higher priority in Jay's mind, leading to a Spiny eliminating the Freezing Pillar, now freeing all of those thawed units, or frozen units, thawing them out. That's the right terminology here, but Jump, as you were saying before here, that might be a little bit of a misplay in your eye?
Yeah, well, Jay definitely needed to take out that Craxus with the Lightning Blade. That was the right move because we can see Allen's main way to get back into this game is by getting more cards. Right now, he's starved for cards with only 2 left in his hand. So the correct play was with the Lightning Blade on the Craxus. The misplay was leaving the companion a spot to kill the pillar.
Which is what
And
happened, yeah.
now there are two unfrozen units that Alan gets to use, whereas he could have easily kept it at 0
Interesting.
unfrozen units. It's the control aspect. Now I don't think it's such a big misplay that um,
Costing
it'll
the game
be
or something like that.
ruining the game. Jay is still in an advantageous position,
Right.
but you want to not only win, you want to be dominant with the win.
Right. You want to
Make
prove that
sure,
it was no mistake that you earned the win.
yeah, make sure that you've got the win too. No chance for a comeback.
Well, we're going to see a couple of trading bits here from Alan's side of the board here. Both Rangers from that earlier call
Yeah,
will come out here to do some board cleanup. Leaving the Explorer over the Cleric here, which I guess is a good choice here. You won't want that healing to persist throughout the matchup here. And Arm pulling more healing into his hand with another Arbiters here. Not what he really wants to see, but I guess it's fine if we get, very, very deep in the game, which feels unlikely as now, I mean, we just got a ton of resources here. Krax is now going to hit the board here. A Yenaroth in the back pocket. It feels like it's going to take a miracle here for Allen to bring himself back in. The Krax that you said was probably the one main way he was getting back into it, but with that removed, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard.
it'll be yeah a tricky position, but who knows? If you just keep throwing out some global buffs and maybe some more. Oh, that's a strong combo piece.
Oh yeah.
You can freeze the Craxus too. Wow. Oh,
Or going for the
okay.
Kraxus directly. Interesting. We don't want to risk that Kraken
Interesting.
getting any sort of healing or buffs.
I am not sure. That's surprising to me. But that's what the play was. We're nearing sudden death now, where Alan will get two cards per turn.
But Jay already got a
Meanwhile,
massive advantage.
Jay's got plenty to work with, but he's actually down in board state, which is something I would not have predicted if you had asked me just a few turns ago when he had the whole board frozen.
Right. That is certainly an interesting predicament here. We're considering a Mordok for turn here to kill off the
Yeah,
Cleric, it seems. Gonna go for the Lich instead, Lich Temple here, so that way we are not gonna freeze off the Cleric, which I think we wanted to do, unfortunately, but we will get the Ranger, which I guess is fine, because now we keep that in there for a bit of a cheeky chain position. Second Blacksmith there from Allen. Not really the card I think he wanted to see, but it is the card that he got nonetheless here. I think he will, okay, get Castle Healing. I think he
yeah,
wanted Ranger
yeah,
Heal.
for sure. But a free heal is still a free heal.
It
He'll
certainly
take
is.
what you can get.
Ooh, L-Blade. Kind of an interesting pull here because of the way this Lich interaction works. He can't use the L-Blade on Castle because he needs to trade that first Lich to clear the Ranger, but the Lich would just get frozen in response. He's considering it, but I mean, wouldn't do you a whole lot of good except freezing that own Lich. Okay, he
Right,
does
so he
go
can
for it.
only kill one unit for now. Yeah.
And then goes to the priest as the follow-up here to remove the cleric. That's fine. We'll get some additional heal for Allen on Castle, which I think is great. Allen's not winning the heal game, though. I mean, by the way, it's nice he's getting these, but I mean, the two arbiters staring us in the face kind of
Yeah.
gives us an idea of who's winning the overall long game.
But I mean, heals don't win the game outright. You need a board presence, or
Hmm.
else you do slow down in tempo if all you can do is play arbiters. Meanwhile, Allen could easily pull some big tempo swinging cards. He could pull another Call for Aid. A Craxus could be deadly.
Hmm.
Things that really put presence on the board rather than just uh, stall and heal a little bit.
And that's kind of another thing that we're going to go back to here is we just saw the Arbiter shotgun to remove the Bard here. We were just talking about how board presence is important here. Arbiter didn't really feel like it was that kind of card that would have created that big impact here. We could have
Right.
easily played something like a Mordok or maybe even a Yenaroth if we really were feeling it, but I don't know. The Arbiter shotgun seems a little rushed to me. I'm not sure if I agree with that play here.
I'm with you on that commentary. It there was no rush to play it either. It was, I mean, maybe a nice to have play, but something just building up board presence, I think, would have been the optimal play.
Right. Anything to
Right
get
now,
better game pace.
having four buildings is nice, but with no units there, you're gonna get rushed down. Hmm.
And the Rat King is making
Well,
moves to
okay.
do so. Not the rush, I think, that's going to be super impactful in these colors here. Would have been much scarier if we had paired this with blue and the threat of a Mystic Journey was in hand, but we do not have that case, unfortunately.
Definitely. I'd be surprised if there's anything but Yenneroth here.
Yep, same here. This just feels like the correct play, and there is the big
Now,
A10.
it does get to return 4 damage, which is nice for Alan. I imagine anything with that normally has 3 attack is able to kill this Yenneroth.
Yep,
There's a priest,
Priest will do
exactly
it.
3. That's a 2 gold card for a 9 gold card, but
Oof.
that chain lightning,
Yep, the chain is
that's
real.
gonna take out a few more units on the way.
And not something that
So
Jay wants to be. Oh no, Alan wants to be dealing with. Excuse me, this late in the
no,
game.
we saw Alan do great with the Enroth. Now let's see if Mordok can do the same.
Yep, that's two
Takes out
more
a
damage.
bunch more units.
Oh, and the dwarven construction with the Mordok synergy. Oh my god.
You love to see it or you hate to see it, depending who you are.
The 8 health temple in the back. My word. Man,
Yeah,
Alan will have
that's
incredible
not dying
games.
anytime soon. So Alan's got to deal with this Mordok. And a Rat King will do it.
Yep.
That will do it.
Hopefully that we're not pulling out. Okay, we do. The Horseman is a good pull for us. We can easily trade in the Rat King as well here. We also hit the Blacksmith return rather than the Castle here. And the Big Hands heal. Ooh, that was devastating.
Oh,
Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right, now we've got a
yeah.
game on our hands.
All right, we're gonna see a freezing pillar here. Is that what's happening?
Oh, we're gonna do Monk Rush, Books, and the Priest foregoing the Freezing Pillar, it looks like, for this turn. I think we're just expecting our
Okay,
big beef
okay.
to push through. God, I don't even know
I
what I
mean,
do.
in a war of global buffs, Jay is winning
Oh, for
with
sure.
4 of them as compared to 2.
And not to
And
mention the...
I mean, I was saying he needed to develop a board presence. There it is. That's a board presence now.
The call for hitting the board here, that could do
Alfred
something.
is, it's gonna protect your castle from being hit, but I don't know if it's gonna turn the tide of the game the way Alan needs to get back into this.
No. Oh, and there's another temple. If we weren't already winning the global game here, I think we've just about seen every card in Jay's deck at this point.
Yeah, there you are. If you'd like to copy a top tournament deck, this is a great video to see all the cards.
Oh my god! Here, I really want him to hover over his deck list to see how many he has actually left in deck.
Yeah. Now, Cards and Castles is very generous with 50 cards in deck. It's very rare that you deck out, and even if you do deck out, you're allowed to play out the units you've got on board.
That is
So
true. Thinking here,
we've
what do we?
seen some long games before, but I think Alan's got to be running out of steam.
Yeah, I mean, we could throw out a Ranger here. We have to. We have it from the call. Might as well. But I mean, just looking like I think.
Just the Mordok will take out that Ranger,
Uh-huh.
leaving an open flying books with a double lightning blade. Or actually, it's a flying books. Double
Yeah.
lightning blade flies right over.
Just
There you are.
Flying books. Boom.
He's
Jeez.
the lethal. Deals
Oh,
the 9 plus 6 plus 2, if my math is right.
more than
That's a
enough.
17, yeah.
More than
Plenty
enough.
of damage.
But yeah, overall a strong showing here from Jay in match number one here, and I mean that was just match number one, and we're already sitting at 15 minutes in. Incredible
Yeah.
stuff. We do have a game two to get to though, so let's go ahead and take a look at the game number one just a little bit closer in our post game breakdown. And with that said, folks, coming after game number one, quite the back and forth to open up our series here, Jump. Just a lot of strong plays from both of these guys, but Jay coming out on top there. I mean, I think I know what gave it to him, but I mean, the card advantage, the quality of globals, all around just a great game, I think, and a great showing for Jay.
Yeah, that freeze lock that he established was a really key moment in the game. It's there were a few plays I would have done differently. I would have played it a little bit more patiently at that moment, secure a very dominant presence on the board while you have that freeze lock, and then close out the game in one, maybe two turns if you need it. But you got a little bit greedy and shut it and let Allen gain a bit more tempo, but he did win in the end.
Right, certainly. And overall, a strong match, like we said, for Jay. But with that being said, Jump, we've got more matches to get to. Match number two. Let's go ahead and jump into that right now.
As they say in my hometown.
And game number two now underway, as of course we've got Jay running back the same thing as per our Casting Conflicts rules, up against what I think is Allen's classic Mystic Rat strategy. I mean, I'm seeing the green-blue, Jump. It's right
a surprise to absolutely nobody at all. We see Allen going back to his other deck.
The one that works best. I mean, ever since he's used this and back in season one and in the beginning of season two, it's worked. It's been successful. So I mean, I think the idea here is why change what isn't broken.
I mean, it is broken, but that's a different story.
God, yeah.
Now, in terms of the matchup, it's interesting that he would go for the Mystic Rats because if Jay is able to produce a strong early game, which, I mean, he struggled with a little bit last time with only his first play on turn 3, but if he is able to start an early board presence, it becomes a big threat, and Allen will be able to get out those rat hovels that he needs, the global buffs that he needs, in fear of Lightning Blade.
Right. I mean, we're seeing no fear now, though. Armory hitting the board here, Armory for Armory, as the Southport makes the first strike on Castle. Lumberjack making the clean trade here to draw a card for Jay. Gonna be the Lich, but not what we're gonna play here as Cleric hits the board. I mean,
so it's very, very even so far.
Right.
Couldn't be more even, I'd say.
Elvish Thief comes out. Well, I mean, throwing that into the Cleric seems unusual, but I mean, here we are. That won't really kill the Cleric, and Cleric will get some healing off of that Thief here, so feels weird to see the Sacrificial Lamb go off, but I guess we're protecting the Armory. Another Reclaim to the hand. Jump, if he uses this, I swear, I don't know what I'm going to do.
No, I agree with this move right here. And let's hope he rushes it all the way forward. Well done. That's exactly what I would have done.
So
I love when my predictions line up with what the players actually do.
But talk to us about this. So we're putting some pressure here, essentially, in the early stages, like you said, establishing the board presence to hopefully scare Allen off of that globals and the hovels and all that.
Right, exactly. So in this situation, we see that both units are frozen. They're effectively not on the board for this turn. So why don't you use the temporary board advantage to take control of the center of the board, push into the opponent's base a little bit, and this Cleric in front of the Dwarf Paladin says, hey, if you want to hit my Dwarf Paladin friend, you got to get through me first. I'll heal up my castle, I'll heal myself. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And Allen's really being put in a tough spot here. He's got to think about it. He doesn't have any units and he's forced to trade a blacksmith. That's
Ooh.
not what you want to do.
No, certainly not here. And it gets worse considering the L blade for turn.
The perfect top deck. Come on, let's see it.
I don't see why you wouldn't use it here. Okay, well,
Okay.
uh, like okay, I get it. You want
I
to
mean, it
steal the buff,
works.
but like we both wanted to see the L blade. We both think probably cutting him off is better. I guess in Jay's mind, he doesn't want to run the risk of Allen not being able to throw out another building, hence the reclaim being dead in his hand. Whereas he can just hold the L blade for maybe a finishing blow, if that's what he wanted to do here. It does put Allen in a tough spot, but
Yeah.
probably not as tough as we would like to have seen.
Well, here's the thing. Once you've seen a magic eater uh, be grown to insane stats, you always have a little bit of fear for that guy. But if we're to think about it a little bit closer, we got to remember that this is not a Magic Eater buff deck. He just happened to pull it from Matty. He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have tons of minor spells or flux to suddenly grow it. It's not as much of a threat as that blacksmith was. That blacksmith needed to be dealt with. And this is exactly why.
Yeah, because now we're allowing Allen to rebuild that global, or kind of global, hovel, I guess is the proper word. Allowing him to rebuild is what we're trying to say here, and put him in a spot where he can hopefully build back the game here. Because we're seeing, I mean, right now in Jay's hand, this Kraxus has to get something, or else Jay is going to be hurting the rest of this matchup, which I think might
Sure.
happen just based on the amount of cards in Allen's hand and the gold he's at. I think he has to forcibly put that Rat King potentially into the Kraxus. But I mean, I
Well,
hope he has an answer.
we are quite sure he doesn't have a Mystic Journey in his hand. Oh,
As we say that.
maybe I spoke too soon. It's a top deck. The master of top deck has done it again.
uh,
He did not have a Mystic Journey last turn.
I mean,
I
we
can
don't
quite
know.
confidently say, or else he would have used it.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, there's no reason to risk losing your guy when you only have a couple cards in hand. I would be shocked if he sandbagged the Mystic Journey with a Rat King on board in a good position to play it.
I don't like leaving the Paladin alone,
I
though.
just I don't understand why you would ever do that. So if he did, congratulations, his massive risk paid off, but more than likely it was a top deck.
Yeah, but switching back to the board real quick here, an interesting predicament as Allen forgoes the Dwarven Paladin trade, allowing 2 on face before any sort of Dwarven interactions here, allowing Jay to sneak in a potential tricky L-Blade here, either on Castle or Hovel. He could also do Mordok to help clear away some of the swarm in the back that he's got going on here. Might go for Paladin Priest instead here. Okay, well, at least one Paladin hits the board here. Priest does come out again, so we might see actually Paladin Priest L-Blade. Yeah, we're gonna see that.
Okay. Well, the reason Alan decided not to attack here with it onto the Paladin is because he's not too afraid of the whole deal that's going on with in terms of his own defense.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I have so much offense right now that you have to deal with my threats. Unfortunately, that left his blacksmith up for getting killed, and now it's not so much of a threat. It's just a bunch of 1/1s.
Yep, a bunch of 1/1s indeed. Facing down a 2/5 near Jay's side and a 4/7 on Allen's side. Definitely not what he wants to see. Mordok hit the
And,
board though, okay. Be an interesting equalizer. We can use the big Wraith pull as well, fearing this back hopefully, and using the
and we keep healing up just one at a time.
yep, just one away. We're gonna have to forcibly use the rats then to connect the castle just to create some kind of distraction.
Hardly relevant when you've got this combo from the Paladins.
Yep. The
I would
Paladin on
predict,
Paladin.
yeah.
There's the Mordok into a Banshee now. Okay, so we might be gunning for... are we gunning for Mordok? Here's the question. With this?
Um,
I don't think we are. No. No, we're not.
Not really a big threat right yet. It's we know that Alan's gonna get one more Mordok spawn before he dies. And so the only thing that would make it scary is that Alan might get a bit extra reach with the later Mordok spawn. And in this case, didn't really matter.
No.
So
Didn't really matter in...
might as well get the 4 damage on face while you're at it.
Oh,
Okay, so now we're down to the wire. We've got a synchronized strike, just a minor spell pull, plus 2 main deck cards. And on Alan's side, just 1 main deck card. And not too much of a presence for either one. I'd say
maybe more in favor of Alan.
Alan has a little bit of board
Yeah.
presence, but that'll swing really quick after a turn gets taken.
Yeah, let's see
Interesting
how he
that
wants to proceed.
the spell order got played like that. I would have expected the books to come down before the... Although, sorry, no, it's healing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really affect it.
Oh, and there goes the cleric. Not what you want to see off of the synchro. Does even things out here, but again, puts him in a weak
Right.
spot.
So down to 1 card each. The draw from the flying books is going to be very nice.
Same with the lumberjack cycle on Alan's side here. Big Mordok.
Mordok is a lovely card.
Oh, and the
Great to
Wraith
see it.
pull.
Oh, and he pulls the big Wraith.
Yep.
Now, if you're Jay here, there's some scary stuff that you see.
Yeah, I mean, the best
You
we can...
can't deal with too much of this with only an Arbiters.
No.
The heal is irrelevant when you're at 21. The freeze is, I mean, nice, I guess.
The freeze is needed for the stall. I mean...
But it's not what you need.
Oh,
no. You just need expensive cards, and Alan, the king of top deck, is showing us why he has that nickname.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see him put the Banshee into this Lich as well, him giving a little bit more minor spell value, pulling a Flame Shield. That can do wonders for any one of these creatures he's got on the board right now.
So Jay gets 2 draws with the first round of sudden death, and
That's not going to be enough.
not gonna be it.
No, that's not going to do it.
I think the best chance he's got would be to, strangely, just play... Okay, that works with the fear going back. Just
Yeah.
play kind of defensively. You need to pull an Arbiters in the next 2 turns.
Yeah, so that way
Be able to get that reach. Otherwise, or a Mordok might be able to do it too. But other than that, he doesn't have the reach to get to the castle, and he's getting choked out.
Yeah, now here's where Mordok is going to start sinking in some damage here. Banshee cutting off the book straw. Ooh, Alan says, no, I'm not going to allow that. We're not having that bull today. Very good heads up to kind of cut arm off of more draw potential for, like you said, that additional Arbiters. Seeing Sapphire hit the board as well, okay, giving some extra ramp. Not really the big impact we wanted to see, but I guess a card that's good nonetheless here. Meanwhile,
Really?
Jay, Craxus and a Monk for turn.
Defensive positioning. I am shocked a little bit. I mean, this is Alan's time to try and close out the game. He's got the advantage.
Yeah, he kind
But
of
instead he opts for defensive positioning.
giving Alan the Shadow Slip, okay, off of the Banshee that was pulled from that Mordok here. He needs... I think he can actually get the face here using the Flame Shield or Katana. That's
That's
Neither.
not it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but it kills the armory, so it does work.
Yep. Big
Oh,
math.
we
So
both
that way,
mathed it wrong.
we both math, and then the flame shield category. Yep, for lethal. Yep, that's lethal.
Okay,
Oh,
so Alan pulls it back to 1-1.
1-1.
Evens up the game. Can't wait to see what game 3 has in store.
Indeed, we go back to Allen's game 1 deck. Jay having an option of anything in his arsenal here. We'll see what he brings, but let's go ahead and take a look at game 2 just a little bit closer. And match number 2 has concluded. Jump, a much needed fire back from Allen here in game number 2. Overall, I think you were talking about it maybe a little bit earlier in the match itself here, but Jay getting a little bit too greedy going after the Magic Eater rather than focusing on some of those globals here, and that's I think what really allowed Allen to fire back with assistance from the Mystic Rat King combo.
Yeah, that was such a pivotal moment. The combo that Alan, the main combo, the deck is named after the Mystic Rats, but the global buffs being left alive enabled it to be so much more powerful. But taking a look from the other perspective, Alan, with his comfort pick, his old favorite, he knows the matchups a little bit better. He knows the limits of his deck, and he played it out very well.
Certainly, I would agree with you there, and I mean no small part as well with the help of Mordox coming out in the late portions of that game here. Those were absolutely crucial, I think, in that like top deck war we got into with them at the very ends of that game here, allowing Allen to not only bring Mordox into play here to help clean the board here, but allow those Banshees that he would drawing off those Mordox to assist in some minor spell pulls, which helped him close out the game just that much quicker. A very dominant performance from Allen here, and I think I would not be surprised if Jay might be a little bit shaken up after that one. I mean, I hope not, but I mean, one can imagine.
Yeah, we'll see how it affects the next matches. Maybe he'll make some more mistakes. Maybe he'll play a bit safer, more aggressive. We'll have to see.
Right.
Only one way to find out.
Of course, of course. And with that being said, folks, match number 3 coming at you right now. All right, Jump, we're back. Game number 3, as of course we're running back Allen's white-yellow up against, well, I don't think Jay made a change here. I think he's running back the same list. If it worked in game 1, why not work it in game number 3 here? I think, do we give the advantage back to Jay, I think, in this one, since he's got that, game 1 experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's that's the funny thing about best of fives with this kind of loser gets to counterpick and winner has to play their original deck rules. I mean, if you won game 1, you had something working out for you, then it's not a bad idea to give it another go.
Right, and we're definitely seeing some success here as Allen forced to use his spiny here to clear out some of the early aggression from Jay here. And Jay running up his favorite Dwarf Paladin card, making an appearance once again on the board here. Very nice to see him. Although not being supported by much in this instance here, unlike the last 2 times we've seen him.
No, but I do like the aggressive positioning because Dwarf Paladin is one of those cards that is so much stronger in the early game than it ever will be in the late game. If you think early game, 4 health is quite a bit, but once you get to turn 5, turn 6, and later on than that, so many different units, and even rats with global buffs can deal 4 damage, no problem. But early on, if you strike early enough, you could just keep chipping away and getting those 1 heals.
Well, I mean, not going to get a heal this time, as Wizard plus the Blacksmith enough to take out the Paladin here. Allowing Monk to take a few shots in at Castle here, and I think Jay might continue to push the aggressive nature here. Yep, we're seeing Drake and Arctic Explorer here hitting the board. I would love to see if Allen's got another Mana Core Bestial Rage in hand for another big range Rampage unit, because Jay not having a response to that in hand if that's the case.
Right. The double freeze last time was a big force to be reckoned with, but we see his hand. He does not have it.
Nope. Instead, going
No
with...
freeze means no clear way of dealing with rampaging wizards.
That's true. And I meant probably, well, I meant more or less like we don't see the rampage range out of Allen, instead going for the Rat King. But I mean, yeah, I'm going back to Jay. He's got no clear response for that either here. Meanwhile, Allen might taking a bit of an aggressive, or not aggressive, more dominant board state here for his next few turns. I mean, we're seeing Jay in hand. Really not a lot to work with. The Yenneroth Kraxus going to be not happening next turn, and the Reclaim having no targets. Definitely not what Jay wants to see here. Yarm, oh boy, again, not
Wow, he
no,
has no cards that he can play. A pass. When
yeah,
you're in this situation, what you need to do as Jay is a sneaky wait 10 seconds, then you pass. It's the mind games. Makes them think, I can do something here, but I'll let you come a little bit closer before I pull it off. And it's that hesitation that really gets in the mind of your opponent.
Well, we do see the Armory hit, the Armory swap control Reclaim putting in some work again here. Numbers aren't updating as is the typical Armory bug here, so yep, we're going to see that interaction go through unless he was doing that more or less for the Mana Core. Those units will be healed thanks to Dwarven Paladin here. Book's going to make an appearance as well. Not bad of a turn here. It does allow him to set up for any one of these big units going into the next turn if he wants to. We'll see if the Armory sticks around for a little while.
Can't imagine it will, but we're still missing that bestial rage. That's what Alan's searching for.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 8 gold, so there's a possibility of a Kraxus coming out. That would be another great play. I personally would love to see. Oh, so it seems he's running no Kraxus in hand, no bestial rage in hand at the moment,
Okay.
and he's trying to choke that. Why do I talk?
Why do you talk? It's the caster's curse, man. We all have it. It's just we try to speak things into existence, and they come into existence. It is what it is. Lumberjack and Blacksmith should be enough to take out the Armory as well. Yep. So now we're not going to be seeing any of that. Do have a nice little Yenneroth setup here though to take if we are Jay, because of course any chain next turn like an L-Blade could be absolutely devastating for this, and plus we get to try and punish the rampaging wizard before it gets out of hand.
Yeah, the one thing that I said that still holds true is that the best way for Jay's deck to dealing with rampaging wizards is freeze.
Mm-hmm. And we see that he also has to do that.
Call for aid, wonderful, but he can't play one of those 5-cost rangers this turn. It would have been able to take out the what's it called? The Yenneroth in one swift sword strike, but not this time.
Nope.
As he costs too much.
I mean, I hope we didn't just make that play assuming we had the 10 gold, because that would have been a huge miscalculation at this point in the game.
Yeah, I don't see any oops call out, so
I guess not, but the hands of Satan.
I guess he's just forgotten to do it as is customary.
Oh, God, we can just... okay, we are going to go in for the wizard. I was going to say, we could swipe into castle and do a little bit of freezing pillar, but I guess probably would not be a good idea. Might as well take it out now so we don't run the risk of it being thought out later by the Rangers, which we now know are in hand, at least 2 copies of.
It's a bit of a safer play, really. Jay knows that hitting the castle, well, hitting for 6 is nice. It has the potential to be healed, and he's not really in any position to be threatening for lethal anyway. Mm-hmm. So he takes the safer play. He's going for just hitting it slowly.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. We're going to see a Lich. Next turn, we will see... Oh, interesting. There's another 5-cost ranger in there.
There is.
That's a dead Praxis.
Yeah, I don't know if we just forgot.
That must be a misplay.
I think so, because we pushed in the cracks. We had the Lich. I don't know what that attempting play was, but that is going to be a dead Craxus with no draw for Jay, forcing him just with a bunch of freeze, Armory, and Yarm in hand to deal with an incoming army of Rangers, by the way. Of course, Allen did pull another call for 8 at the end of that turn. Oh boy!
And he froze the Ranger he needed to freeze. He needed to freeze. I'm gonna emphasize. But here come more Rangers.
No, we're going to get a Blacksmith out and an
Huh?
Armory before then. We're going to make these Rangers big when they come out. Plus the Mana Core, so you know it's going to be juicy.
Interesting. Now, remember that Yarm is in hand. And Yarm attacking anything will hit the Manticore first, which will actually kill that Armory.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it will kill the Yarm as well. So it's not necessarily the most optimal trade, but something like a freezing pillar first could slow it down, could be another step along the way.
For sure. That is, I think, something that we got to consider just a little bit here. But, I mean, looking at the hand, what else can we really afford to play here? Look like we are going to bring out the books here to make a connection with the Ranger. Okay, if we're
That's
going
not it.
Uh,
That's not the way back into the game.
no, it isn't. I would have, if anything, I would have liked to see maybe a L-Blade on the Lich here, so that way we just connect into the Mana Core, kill off the Armory, and if we had to, we put the books into Ranger just to eliminate it from the board here. This is going to get really bad really fast here. No clear...
Freezer up.
Yeah.
Wow. That is a brave move.
Yeah.
Now he's got the tools to follow up with a Yarm, but not placing that freezing pillar one space further back is just daring Allen to charge in more Rangers.
Speaking of more Rangers, here come those two more from the from the latest call for aid. Those will be Yarmed back here, so we're going to create a little bit of chain of potential. Not enough to kill off the Rangers, though. I think...
that is game. Yeah, that's lethal.
Yep, that's lethal.
Oh, come on. Let him finish.
No, there it is.
Oh.
God damn it. Absolutely ridiculous.
All right, next game I'm cheering for Allen.
All right.
All right, post-match commentary, and then we'll get right back. Game number 4.
Of course. Folks, game number 3 wrapping up now, and Jump, this was certainly not the way I wanted to see Jay try to recover here. Yeah, just not his matchup here going up against the same list. The matchup that we thought in game, was going to lean more towards Jay, considering that he had game 1 experience with the matchup. He had experience, beating out a lot of Allen's tools here. But a very critical misplay, I think, in that game, moving the Craxus up into the second Ranger, blocking him from additional draw. That really, really hurt him.
Yeah, he stayed true with his comfort pick, and it played out rather well in the beginning, but towards the end, there were some slight misplays, and ultimately it cost him the game.
Yeah, it goes to show that, at this level of competition, every play can be very crucial, very critical. And mistakes like that kind of open the doors up to, some heavy losses here. And unfortunately, I think Jay was on the receiving end of that one. It's not over, though. Of course, Jay has one more chance to bounce back here. So I'm excited to see what he picks. Any predictions on what we could see from Jay moving into our last matchup here? He's got to win this one, or else he's out.
Well, we know Allen's got to play the same deck. So if Jay is very confident he could play the same one again, I actually am not too familiar with his other deck choices that he's comfortable on. Oh. So I'm not sure what to expect. I hope he brings something that can deal with lots of global buffs.
Right, and with that being said, folks, match number 4. Allen with the set point. Will he take the win? Only one way to find out. Let's go ahead and jump into match number 4. All right, folks, and here we are, game number 4. Allen with the set point potential here. He might be moving on if he can win this next game. But Jay, bring out all the stops here. Jump. It's Raka party time.
Yeah, we saw the war party. We see the Raka. There's the Mordok.
It's
wow.
It's Raka party time. And speaking of Raka party, not the best way to start out a Raka party. 2 pillars, bolt, and no early game presence to at least help stall here. Wizard hitting the board is a good sign for Jay. I mean, he's got a now target for blue firebolt, it seems like.
Yeah,
there it is.
That's great. Now, freezing pillars are good, normally, but we know how many companions that are in Allen's deck right here. He's got, actually, well, in his main deck, assuming no sideboards, 3 centaurs, 3 spinies, 6 companions to deal with these freezing pillars. It could happen. That's what Allen wants to see in his hand, is plenty of companions.
Well, I mean,
other than that, range is his second best chance.
Oh, there's a Lich. Freezing off one of the wrong targets. Lumberjack was not the needed hit. He needed Cleric and Wizard. Got the Wizard, just not the Cleric. Using a Grotesque as well, just for some draw, which, again, is desperately needed, in my opinion, for this one here. We see Bard come out here. That's going to connect with the pillar. Meaning the second pillar here is going to get a little bit of value by freezing off this Cleric here, unless we want a Lumberjack.
Well, he's going to draw first and see what he gets, but I'm positive it's going to be a freezing pillar right after.
Yep, and there
anything else would just be too much damage to his face that he cannot afford. And it's a race, can I get to turn 10 for Jay versus Allen, can I kill that castle by turn 10?
Oh, we might be able to. There it is.
Oh my god, there's the rampaging wizard saying the clock has started counting down.
Oh my god, and this is not the spot I think Jay wants to be in here. We're going to go for the bolt against the Fat Bard, the Faithful, to eliminate the Lumberjack. Yeah, this is not good.
No, the Manticore says, nope, that's my unit. I'm going to keep it, thank you very much.
Oh god, and we could just do this. He had Dirty Wizard retreat back, popping the Faithful Drake, and allowing another swarm of damage to come in.
Another 5 damage on if he wants it, or another 3 if he's playing it safe.
Yep.
And next turn...
Oh, there, nope, 5 regardless. That's 5.
Oh, no.
Oh, and the Mana Core heal, because that's the only damaged unit yet.
Up to 7. So, in this situation, Jay has to deal with all 4 threats on board, and he has 1 unit to do it with. Is not going to happen. That's going to be game for Allen. And a full set. I was cheering for him the whole time. No!
Oh god, we are in playoffs mode here, folks. Not happy to lose here, as Jay unfortunately dropping the set. Yeah, I mean that was certainly a quick one here. Not much really from us, so let's go ahead and break that down. Let's head to the post match. And game number 4 sees the end of the set. Allen taking the win over Jay here, with Jay running the interesting counter choice here. Raka Party coming into the matchup, failing pretty heavily to Allen's aggro here. Jump, talk to me about what went wrong for our boy here. What happened?
I mean, I'd attribute at least some of it to the deck choice. The list that Allen's running has only one 1-drop, or one set of 1-drops in Lumberjacks, one set of 2-drops, but then a whole slew of 3-drops. And once you get to that point, the tempo just keeps rolling. There's no stopping it. And especially when you get a rampaging wizard, it's just something that Raka Party can't hold off until turn 10. And that's the only win condition for the deck, unfortunately.
Yeah. being very sort of combo reliant opens the deck up to be susceptible to a lot of things, such as, you know, the rampaging wizard and the aggro. It just could not hold on. I think it tried to with the freezing pillars here, but I mean, looking at the list right now, Jump. I mean, there were a lot of elements here that I think Jay could have really utilized better, and you know, if he had them in the matchup here. You know, seeing no dark benders, no shamans, no fears, no
Wizard of his
keycards.
own would have been wonderful too, but
Yeah.
there were only so many cards he drew before the game ended. It went by in a flash, and that's the end of the run for Jay. We're gonna see Allen continue. Next time, he's gonna go up against.
Let's take a look at the playoffs bracket. I mean, why not, right?
All right, why don't we do that?
Let's go ahead and do that. And with that being said, folks, as Jump mentioned, Jay's run is unfortunately over. He does fall in the brackets here, not joining his fellow Raka Rumble advancer, Vesa, in the semifinals here. But Allen does move on and goes up against Death's Advocate here, Jump. Quite the matchup in store for us there. Two very token-based players, token-based strategies from these two throughout the season here. So we'll see who comes out on top in that matchup. Any predictions, though? I don't know if I don't know if you're going to be here for this matchup, so you're not to get your predictions now while we have you.
It's the fearsome Duh himself, and if I were to predict, I think Allen's got too much of a linear deck and too limited number of deck choices to be able to face up against a flexible player like Death's Advocate. But, you know, I said a similar thing about the matchup that we just saw now, and
that didn't
I was proven wrong. So I'm going to stick with it, trust my instincts. But I know DA hasn't been playing as much of CNC either, so he could be a little bit out of practice. We'll see if that affects anything. Still sticking with my slight edge, Death's Advocate.
All right.
But it'll be a great matchup either way. I'm sure lots of high-level plays. Hopefully not too many mistakes at all. If you're wanting to see some clean-cut, strong play, this is a good match to see it in.
We said that about this one too, and a couple of misplays thrown in here and there. Certainly trying to sweep those under the rug. It happens.
Happens to the best.
And with that being said, folks, that is going to end off our video here. Next time, Vasaven goes up against Dooge for our first finals slot. And following that, Allen will be facing Death's Advocate for the second. Hope you guys did enjoy, though. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you back here next time.